All right, so let's get started. Good morning, everyone. Hope your week is going well. Today, we will be going through some of the latest updates that we have for Reconstruction. And we'll be going over the April newsletter that we sent out a couple of weeks ago. And then after that, we will have time to open up the floor for any questions. I would ask this week that we focus here on any formal questions, any Hub questions, EDOT, any other e-construction questions that you have. But if you do have Headlight questions, next week's office hours, we'll have Craig here. Craig from Headlight, he'll be able to help answer any questions you have about Headlight and receive any potential feedback for improvements for Headlight, and similarly for Forma and also EDOT today. I know last week we had EDOT training, so hopefully that was helpful for you folks. And today we'll be mainly going over various updates to all of our systems, but in particular Forma. So if you do have any Forma questions at the end, please feel free to reach out and ask any questions. So with that, I'll start off with the navigation to our newsletter. So you'll be sent out for each month, you get sent a newsletter, and it will be broadcasted here on the wiki site in the page that I'll be showing you, and also it will be emailed out to everyone. So you'll be able to see the newsletter in various different forms. But for today, I'll show you how to navigate to it from the wiki site. If you missed it, if you go to resources and tools here on the right side of your screen, you scroll all the way down to newsletters and recordings. If you click on e-construction newsletters, you'll be taken to the archive of newsletters that we have. So if you click on April, it will come up with the April newsletter that we sent out a couple weeks ago. And as the title page loads, there are various different updates. And first off, as always, we upload these recordings for office hours. We know that everyone cannot make, we know that everyone perhaps will not be able to make these office hours and trainings. So we record them, we post them to the wiki site, we post them to its pertinent page on the wiki site. So for example, we have Headlight Diaries best practice. So that was one that we did here a couple weeks ago. And then we also have Forma Sheets. We did the uploading your sheets best practice. So these links are directly to the YouTube video that we created, and then Forma Project Creation, the updated template that we utilize. So these are the most recent trainings. The Hall Hub one last week, that was after this newsletter. So we will be sure to upload it to the wiki site, and so that you folks have access to that one as well. This is the overall archives training, or the archive for the training, so you'll be able to see the latest all the way from when we started doing these office hours again. So again, that's the training archive, and then also any slide decks for official trainings and presentations, and that will be housed here. So these are, the very first thing is an opportunity for folks to take a look at our trainings that we've done recently and have access to those. Next, we went over in detail Autodesk Forma and how we're adding new projects. So obviously, throughout the year, you folks will be getting new projects, and when that happens, we want to be sure that we follow the best practices for project setup, particularly Forma. If you do not set it up per the project template, you will be missing out on a lot of the pre-built workflows, pre-built forms, pre-built permission levels, pre-built members for each HDOT project. So the expectation is that when you add a project, you use that template. For Headlight, obviously there still is the Headlight project creation form. So we've done training on that before. So still it's the same process. You'll submit a request to Headlight, and then you have to wait a few days for Headlight to create the project, and then you'll get full access from there on. And then for HallHub, there's a form here to enter it, and then we'll go in and create the project and add the pertinent members. HallHub is a little bit more complicated on the back end, not really on the front end with you guys, because you guys are create a form, you guys will get access to the eDoc portal. But in the back end, to make sure that all the project's suppliers are getting sent or sending the material tickets to the correct project and the correct contractor job slip portal, there needs to be some work done by Alex and team to get that coordinated and sent over to the correct project. Next, this is the different topic that we did want to highlight here and also highlight in the newsletter. We want to refresh on the Build America, Buy America compliance. And this is specifically for DMP forms. And we're, just reminding everyone that DMP forms are required on federally funded projects for the applicable materials. Now we have I'm very much not going to go into detail with BABA, as we had a very extensive, hour to 2 hour long training that had about 350 people, which included contractors, which is linked here. And that was an extensive training done months ago. And what happened was, when we went to go to do COCUA reviews, and we noticed that, or outlined in this training, there was a COCUA review plan, and one of which is the initial COCUA check, which was simply just checking for DMP forms and seeing if there are DMP forms on your project. And a lot of projects, failed to submit this supporting documentations. Hence why, again, we're refreshing here. This, if you have questions on BABA compliance, this is the link here to go and check. If you do have further additional questions, we have our in-house expert, Andy, who did this training. And so feel free to reach out to Econ, and we can get him to potentially help clarifications if needed on this training. But the main thing is that we are following this training, and we are looking ahead towards the second part of the COCUA reviews and audit for BABA, which goes a little bit further. So it's not just, are we using DMP forms, and are DMP forms in your project? It will be looking through the supporting documentation that accompanies the DMP submissions. Now, again, a reminder is the DMP submissions are within forms. So that is where we checked, and that is where the dashboard that the stakeholders see gets populated. So if you're not submitting your DMP form within form of forms, then it will not get tracked. So hence why, again, go back to this training, check it out, make sure you understand the requirements, make sure you understand the best practice procedure in terms of submitting it in Forma, in which you will which you and your project teams will get credit for if it's submitted within Forma forms. So again, I'm not going to touch any further on this. This is something that we've done an extensive training on already, but just wanted to put out a refresher on these requirements to hopefully spur some action across the projects. And perhaps maybe these projects they're providing this documentation. It's just a matter of getting it in the right area on your project. So again, BABA refresher, this is something a little bit different that was included in this newsletter. Newsletters also get sent out to contractors, so this is also sent out to the contractors, so they also got a reminder of this as well. So make sure on your project teams, make sure you're following up on these things. Next, there were Forma updates, and again, we just wanted to emphasize many people are still using the verbiage of ACC, which is it's fine. People are so used to it, including myself. But Autodesk did rebrand, and so at least this product, Construction Cloud products like Build, Docs, got rebranded underneath the parent tree of Autodesk Forma instead of Construction Cloud. And so now Docs is Forma Data Management. That's the biggest change. Build stayed the same. Account admins, which only really affects Eddie and team, is Hubs and Hub admin. So just a bunch of name changes, not necessarily workflow changes. So again, I'm not going to bore you with all this information, but the names are updated, and let's try our best to use the correct verbiage moving forward. A couple of different updates. So issue and markup tools were improved. So tracking your issues through markups. You can create issues from the issue log itself, but you can also create issues from markups. So if you are doing your as-builts on plan sheets and you're marking up the plan sheets and you want to associate an issue with one of the markups that you've added, so you're able to tie an issue to that markup. That ability was already there before, but just quick fixes and quick adjustments to that tool were made. And then also more workflow tools for RFIs. We haven't really fully explored into specifications module yet for Autodesk, but forms, photos, and mobile field use. So again, mobile field use for Forma and Build. We predominantly currently use it for BMP forms, BMP photos, but we want to encourage more photo usage for issues, for other various aspects of Forma modules. So another update that we'll be sending out we'll be sending out to your projects here shortly is the expanded Insight. And one of the cool things is Insight is able to give you better knowledge and more condensed knowledge of what is happening on your projects and the data that it lies. And we're able to customize dashboards. We're able to customize views that you'll be able to see on your project home dashboard. So if you, when you're navigating to build, oftentimes you get by default navigated to that home page, but the home page wasn't really used for many things at the moment. But now you're able to send some dashboards there. So we're working on dashboards that would be useful for your team to be able to see. So that is in the works and oncoming. And as with everything else in today's world, Autodesk Assistant, so which is kind of the AI component of Autodesk that they've been working on, is getting created to provide better project insights, so you can ask questions against the project data and stuff like that to potentially create some dashboards that would be helpful for you to view. So stuff is to be coming, and all part of the updates that Autodesk was released back in March. So I know they just are getting together a release for May, so we'll be sure to get those updates to you, perhaps share them at another office hours on the latest updates with Forma. And then the next is Hall Hub. So we had a training last week, and excited to share. I'm not sure if Alex did share, but incredible progress on Hall Hub. So it seems like a lot of the training, recoordination, reaching out to suppliers, it's starting to pay off, because we just a few weeks ago, right, or about a month ago now, we were across the DOT. So this was across HDOT projects. We were 40% of e-tickets inspected. So meaning the tickets were not left in pending status. And today, or at least a week ago, we were sitting at 92%. I actually talked to Alex, and we're still around this 86 to 91% tickets inspected percentage. Now, this doesn't stay stagnant. This always moves. As more tickets come in, we have to continue marking them as inspected, marking them as delivered, rejected, and whatnot. The main point is that when we're receiving material tickets, we need to receive and we need to mark them in a timely manner, because even if they're sent to the wrong project, there's material tickets being sent to the wrong project. If you mark it a certain status and you put a note saying that this is the wrong project, then the supplier will know, then the contractor will know, and then our team will know and be able to adjust and resend those tickets, because I would say probably about 30 to 40% of these tickets were just tickets that were being sent to the wrong project by the supplier. So again, we emphasize the importance of, in a timely manner, when we receive these tickets, mark it, whether it's rejected, whether it's accepted, whether it's delivered, whether regardless of what the status ends up being, we just need to respond to it in a timely manner. And so again, just for everyone, great job on the ticket inspection. Numbers going up, and is still around this area at this current moment. So that's a props to you all, and hopefully last week's training was also helpful with Alex as well. And then the next section is updates to progress payments and updates to Headlights fast capture. So I know some people who are out in the field, instead of using their iPad, they like to use their phones. It's smaller, they can bring it around more. So utilizing fast capture is nice, and being able to have similar capabilities to the phone or to the iPad Fieldbook app, which is what it was intended for. Having some of the capabilities is nice to be able to use Headlight with your phone as well. And then, so yeah, it's just improved capabilities, implemented capabilities for the fast capture phone app. I'm not going to go into detail on this. And then finally, we have h.wiki site updates, and this is typical and standard. We post any of the updates that we make to any of the posts. So for BABA posts, we updated and added more resources. For the former project setup, obviously, we totally updated and revamped that project setup best practice guide from 3 years ago. So these are just two of the posts that we highlighted, but obviously, please take a look through the h.wiki site to see for yourself the other updates that we constantly are making to the wiki site and the trainings that we're adding here. And again, as always, we just mentioned that if there is someone who needs access to the wiki site, this is the way to do it. Go to this website and go to this link and click on and follow the prompts to move forward. And that was it for the newsletter. So in detail, those were some of the detailed updates. If you read the newsletter, great. Hope that provided you a little bit more detail and a little bit more context as to some of the updates, rather than just reading through it. And if you didn't read it, hopefully you learned something new and learned something about our e-construction systems that got updated in the last few months. So with that, I'll open up the floor. We perfectly have 10 minutes left. With that, opening up the floor to any questions. All right, guys, I'm going to stop the recording, but